Casey and the Sunshine Band. Casey, are you there with us? How you doing this morning?
I'm doing great, and you?
I am doing sensational. We've got a little bit of applause for you. That is for you. It is exciting to speak with you and have you on the program. It has been, an incredible last few months. You released 2 records, and also you've got 2 singles that have charted in the Billboard charts. Can you tell us what is that excitement like?
It's been over 30 years since I've really released anything and been on the Billboard chart, so that's been exciting. It's just great to know that I can still create music that's still, accepted by people out there, and I'm just enjoying the ride again. So it's I started this project in 2012, and it's I've been taking my time with it. And there's a lot more to come besides, the latest record that's out. And it's just I don't know, I'm just doing what I love to do.
It's great. I mean, catch us up to speed, because you just put out 2 records that, they're both in different directions, too. You released a Christmas album in 2015, later in the year, and, of course, Feeling You, the 60s, which featured a lot of great covers from the 60s. Tell us a little bit about that and the creative process and the decision to put out these new albums.
Well, during my live shows, I like to do some cover versions of more popular songs and do some obscure tracks from some of my own records, because I feel that those are more familiar to the audience than maybe, something that's really obscure and, just an album cut. So I've been doing these, live versions of these songs from the 60s, because that's when I grew up, like Love the One You're With, and,
right.
A few other songs. And I just decided that I was recording actually this new all-original material that's yet to come out yet. And I was going to put like these 2 or 3 songs that I've been doing live on the show on this album. And the more I kept listening to it, I thought, you know what, I'm just going to make it a 2-record set. I'll record 15 more songs, make it 17 songs from the 60s and 17 brand new original songs. And the album would be called Feeling You, which is also the title of the new single, which is the original song. And so what happened is we decided to release the cover versions first, and then follow it up at some point with the new original material. So that's kind of how it came about.
And I've listened to both records. Of course, the 60s record, I've got to say one of my favorite cuts on the record is the Bee Gees' Words. Is a fantastic song, and it's great to hear your voice on it.
Thank you. I really had a good, the songs I kind of selected were, it's kind of a diary of my life in a way, and it's just some of the emotions that I'm feeling, probably more emotions than I've ever, related in a song, and other than Please Don't Go.
Right.
And I just kind of wanted to touch on things where I am in my life, where I've been in my life, and what goes through my head a little bit.
I like that. I mean, I wanted to know, you've got a signature sound with the Sunshine Band, and I look at like taking a 60s themed record or a holiday record, those are, it's like you're taking a little bit of some risks. What are your feelings about taking, such musical risks, and knowing that your sound is so identifiable?
Well, I've always felt I've never been allowed to take some of those risks that other artists were allowed to take, and everybody always had this preconceived conception of what I should sound like.
Right.
And to me, everything I do is Casey and the Sunshine Band, no matter where I go with it.
Right.
But I really try not to think about that. The ingredients are there. From the band played on the current band played on the whole album, and so it was just an exciting time to go in the studio with the guys that I tour with right now and cut this record.
Right. You'd mentioned, I guess, briefly about talking about coming up with ideas, and I'd heard in another interview that you are kind of rehearsing, at sound checks and recording these ideas to kind of come up and test the ideas. How has songwriting, I guess, the process changed for you, or has it changed for you over the years?
Well, I mean, back in the 70s, I would go into the studio with the band and have a preconceived idea in my head, and then, record with the band, or write while I was waiting for the engineer to, get the sounds together.
Right.
And, I mean, stuff comes into my head in seconds. It doesn't take long for me to come up with a chord progression or a melody. There's no effort at all to do that. And so now I've been doing it a little differently. I've been sending my melodies out to a guy in the UK, and he comes up with tracks, with my melody. Some of the band members have come in with tracks already recorded, and let me put a melody and lyrics to it. So I've been doing it a little bit differently than I normally would have done it.
Right.
There's just no method to my madness of how I write or when I write. I write all the time, and I have several songs going right now in my head, and that I've jotted down, and they're on notes ready to go. So it's just a matter of time when I'll get to them.
I was going to say, it must seem like an incredible ride to be able to, pen some songs and work with other producers. I mean, you've got 2 back-to-back hits in the Billboard charts. And these are, obviously dance-related music, you're no stranger to that. But this seems like, in 2016, it's a very modern nightclub, sophisticated sound that is, taking your original voice. How did that direction kind of come about for you?
Well, that's just part of the original material on the album. There's stuff that I've actually cut with the band. That's, there's some very danceable stuff,
Sure.
And then there's some very funky R&B stuff on the new album. But the record that's out right now is definitely one of the more dance-oriented records. And again, it came from an association with a DJ mixer by the name of Bimbo Jones. His real name is Lee Dagger, from London, and he does a lot of remixes for a lot of famous artists. And he sent me a track, and I wrote to the track and got very excited about the whole writing process of doing that. I asked if he had any more, and he sent me some more stuff. And, this is the new single is one of those tracks.
Right. Did it come as a surprise to you that you get the call that you're on the Billboard charts? I mean, what was kind of going through your mind when you heard that?
Well, it's just exciting. We're number 22 this week, and hopefully we'll go into the top 20.
That's incredible.
And, who knows where to go from there. I mean, the whole idea is to take, I'm not in any rush here, and it's just to get my name reassociated out there in music and on the charts, no matter where it is or which chart it is. I have a lot more to bring to the table, and a lot more that will come out and follow all of this. So it's just part of the process I'm going through right now, to reassociate my name with a newer generation and with my current fan base.
I was going to ask you, you'd mentioned in other interviews about kind of going through, a personal development. You're continuing to grow. And I think as an artist, with, as many hits and being, notoriety, it takes a very humble person to be able to say, I'm still growing. Can you tell us about, your journey, I guess, continuing to develop as not only an artist, but as a human?
Well, I had stopped my journey in 1984, right after Give It Up was a hit.
Right.
And I stopped the journey, and I never wanted to have anything to do with the business again, period. And then in 93, I decided that I really wasn't doing what I was enjoying, so I began this growth process, rebirth process, starting with, going to rehab and just getting my life together and things, and just learning about myself, understanding myself. It's taken me quite a few years to, understand and realize the impact I've had and the things that I've done and who I am and what I am. And, I'm still growing. I'm not a spring chicken anymore. And so I'm just growing, and I love the fact that I keep growing. And I guess I had it in my mind that the older you get, you at one point you maybe know it all. You never know it all.
Right.
There's always some growth taking place within oneself, and I'm just glad that I'm able to embrace that growth and grow with it and learn from it. And it makes the ride quite interesting and quite exciting, actually.
It's great. You know, Bodie, our co-host, he had a question for you.
Well, first, I'm just a huge fan, and I wanted to thank Casey, first of all, for his years and years of music and just eternal dance music, basically. But my question was basically just, as an established musician now, is there less pressure for you to be making music, or is it just the opposite, like where there's almost more pressure now because you've been so established for so long?
You know, I don't know if I ever felt that kind of pressure to make the music, because pretty much the music would be made almost a year before the records were released. So there was never really any. The only pressure was I was not only recording for Casey and the Sunshine Band, but many other artists that I was responsible for. So there might have been a little pressure there to get everything out and get everything together. And, you know, I would have to do Casey and the Sunshine Band and then turn to do George McRae and then do Jimmy Bullhorn and then, you know, and then back to KC or whatever was going on. So, and since I was doing what I loved to do, I never felt like there was any real pressure.
Right.
There's definitely, you know, you have to definitely meet some deadlines or whatever. I don't have to meet any deadlines right now. And for a long time, I kind of was a little bit of afraid of putting music out again or going that route again because it was a very lonely period in my life. I didn't know if I wanted to go there with it again.
Right.
And so I would do things to self-sabotage anything that looked like it was going to move me forward and become successful. And so it took me a while to, and in 2012, I just woke up one day and I said, you know what? Stop being afraid. Just go for it. Just do it. You know, enjoy this. Enjoy whatever you have to give and whatever's left to give, and give it. And be grateful for it, and be excited about it, and live it, and dream it, and do it. And that's what I'm doing.
It's amazing. It really, I mean, to know that you've stuck with it. You had some ups and some downs, and obviously to take time off and kind of a reassess is a huge thing. And and we're glad you're back. To be honest with you, you're hitting it. It seems like you've got a giant burst of creativity hitting you. And and you're talking about these releases and of course new projects. Can we expect more of a departure from the signature sound? Like, could there be a KC blues record or a KC folk out? What have you got in your mind? What could you tell us about?
I don't know. I mean, I already have a track on my album that's really a departure from what anybody would think is Casey and the Sunshine Band. I definitely want to explore going out of the box a little bit and, just see where it goes. Maybe even do an acoustic type set.
Sure.
I would love to kind of do some country stuff. And, who knows? I'm just really open to a lot of different things right now. And I've always been that kind of open, but I always felt like I was never allowed to do it. So now I feel like I can do it, and that's exciting.
Casey, it has been an honor to speak with you. I want to say congratulations on your success this year and the release of the new material. And you know what? We both are just very excited for you. And it sounds like you're really in a great place right now. And we wish you all of the success for 2016.
Thank you very, very much. I look forward to a great year.
Well, thank you so much, Casey.
Thank you, Casey.
And have a wonderful day and a fantastic 2016, sir.
Thank you. You also.
You got it. Take care, Casey. Thank you.
Amazing.